This is the Rays POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Tampa Bay Rays, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
Hello and welcome to the Tampa Bay Rays POSTCAST, your spot for instant Rays reaction after every single game. My name is Jonathan Shields. You guys can follow me on Twitter at Johnny10Shields. And this one, just the Rays get absolutely dominated. It looked like a high school team that Garrett Crochet was thrown against. Not even a pulse outside the sixth inning. It was honestly embarrassing. But we're going to talk about how more good today than bad, because there's been a lot of negativity around this team, and rightfully so. They're the best record the Rays can get on this road trip is 3-7. So negativity is absolutely deserved. But today we're going to try to be a little bit more positive, because we're talking about how Shane Boston on the defense was fantastic. We're still going to talk about how the offense was just utterly dominated. I haven't seen domination like that in a while. How many weak ground balls did you see? There was at least 8 of them. A few of the other ground balls were a little bit, more sharply hit, but my goodness, it's just domination. We're still, again, more positive, talking about starting pitching has been fantastic, and why I am not overly concerned. Granted, you see how that doesn't say just overly concerned. I'm concerned, but why I haven't overly concerned, why I'm not saying the sky isn't falling, why I'm saying the Rays are still going to make the playoffs, why I'm saying all this, and we're going to look ahead to the last game before the All-Star break. But first, we need to talk about this offense.
This is what you'll be talking about.
3 hits, 100 pitches exactly for Garrett Crochet of just pure and utter domination. And I feel like it would have hurt less if the Rays, Shane Boston and company weren't just as good. It literally looked like he slept walk out there and just dominance. And his stuff was good, don't get me wrong, but there was 4 or 5 hanging sliders right down the middle of the plate. There was 4 or 5 fastballs right down the middle. So I understand he throws 97. He has a high leg kick. I get all that, but I still think offense performance whenever in the season, people say it's as long as the season happens. I think an offense performance like this is unacceptable whenever it happens, regardless of who the pitcher is. I've never seen the Rays offense this inept. And I understand they've been shut out before, but man, this was a different level. It looked like they were playing 2 different sports. This is only negativity we're having this episode, but man, it literally was like watching varsity versus JV, college versus high school. It was Boston went to go play Durham today, and Crochet pitched. And part of that is what happens when you sit Jonathan Aranda, who's hitting 280 against lefties, for Jose Caballero and Taylor Walls, who did not have a prayer, didn't even have a prayer to get a hit today. They just didn't even have a chance. But when we're talking about the offense, we need to get to our turning point of the game.
Time to reveal where the game was won or lost. It's the turning point.
It's the only time the Rays offense showed a pulse, and it was in the 6th inning. And it was, I shouldn't say that about Taylor Walls. Taylor Walls did get a hit today, but it was more Jose Caballero. Cabby has just been in an incredible rut lately. Before we talk about this, I need to see his offensive numbers lately, because he's hitting just 3 points higher than Taylor Walls. Cabby in the month of July has 2 hits or 3 hits. He's 3 for 16. If you combined his June and July, he is 11 for 71. He hit 145 in June and 188 in July. Against lefties, we saw this yesterday, he's hitting 254. So that's why he's in the lineup against lefties. But man, he has been probably in the roughest point of his entire career. But we go to the turning point because it was the only time the Rays had a pulse, and they made the right play. Kevin Cash made the right call. Ha-Seong Kim made a great bunt. Taylor Walls made a great slide. Sometimes the other team is just a little bit better. And it was as bad as bang of a play as you can have. And that's what, again, made it hurt a little bit more. Walls wasn't out by a lot. It was bang. And if he was called safe, they wouldn't have been overturned to out. It was one of those kind of plays. It hurts more because the Rays didn't lose 5-0, lost 1-0. It doesn't hurt because, for a lot of different reasons. But it's just tough. Everything was perfect. It was a perfect call by Cash. It was a perfect bump by Kim. It was a great slide by Walls. But sometimes the other team just makes a heck of a play, and you have to tip their cap. Tip your cap, which is what I am doing to the Red Sox. And, we talk a lot about this offense, but Garrett Crochet is the second best pitcher in the American League. It's as simple as that. And he's a top 5 pitcher in baseball. But, regardless of who it is, regardless if it's prime Randy Johnson, like, I think a performance like this is just inexcusable. Just the ineptitude, of the offense today. Outside of Morel, who hit 110 off the bat, who, by the way, should be playing more. I don't even think the Rays had a ball, even near that. So let's talk about Shane Baz, man, because he was so good. 6 1/3, 5 hits, had the 1 run, and he did it without the big strikeout numbers. And he had, I think, 2 walks, and I think neither one of those walks were actually ball 4s, especially not the second one. But he was so good the way he was able to manipulate. I thought his cutter especially was really good up in the zone. He brought it up and into the hands of lefties, and I thought that pitch specifically was really good. When he needed the fastball, he had it, and he was able to pump it up. And I've said it before, the way he's able to vary the speed of the fastball all the way from 95 all the way to 100, it's almost like a second changeup when you go from like 99 to 95. And I know it's not as drastic. I think his changeup was 85, 86, but I thought he was fantastic today. And it's a shame that he's going to get the loss for this game because I think this was the best he pitched since he went, I think, was it 8 scoreless for San Diego back earlier this season. I mean, he was just, he was otherworldly. And, going forward, and they talked about he got us a nice long break from the All-Star break. He doesn't pitch until next Monday. So he has 8 days until he pitches again. Which is good for him to get all set up. But, if you guys are in the live, make sure you guys leave a like and comment. Also good to see the bullpen bounce back. I thought Uceta was really, really good. I mean, that's what Uceta you kind of think. And I said it, you can kind of tell Uceta's out and going to go by the first few pitches. If his fastball is low and flat, it's not going to be good. His fastball today was lively and it was at the top of the zone. But, it's, how do I word this? It is optimistic that the bullpen made steps, specifically Uceta, who's going to be an even bigger part in this bullpen with Manny Rodriguez being out. But you still have Shane Baz, being ridiculous, but ridiculously good like he was today. But we have to talk about the defense. I mean, as much as I have flack, I'm going to give Cabby with his play at the plate. I'm going to give him flack. I mean, he's hitting like 160 in his last 2 months. The play he made in right was insane. I mean, it kept the Rays in the game. It was one of the best defensive plays I've seen from the Rays this year. It might be the best defensive play. I mean, that was incredible. I cannot give him more props for that play. And just the defense in general, even the play Meade turned for the double play, the play Ha-Seong Kim turned. I mean, having basically 2 shortstops up the middle. There was one and the first thing where Kim came across the base, gloved it, threw it back across his body. And, I think we take those plays for granted, but not every single team has the bodies to make those plays, and the Rays do. So I think that's a luxury. The Rays kind of take that as a luxury at times, but man, there's a lot of positives to take away from the pitching and defense side from this game, and that's where I kind of want to focus. But we're going to talk about how good the starting pitching has been and why I am not overly concerned. Granted, that see how this says overly concerned? I am concerned, but I'm not overly concerned. And we're going to look ahead to the last game before the All-Star break right after this. This episode is brought to you by Supply House. Get the supplies you need from the site made for skilled trades, Supply House. Whether you're in plumbing, HVAC, or electrical work, Supply House is a reliable way to order products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. Plus, with a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from 400-plus top brands, you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. Need help with an order? Supply House offers expert support and industry-leading service, so you'll always talk to a real person. And for trade pros looking for an extra edge, their free Trade Master program offers exclusive perks like a dedicated phone line, free shipping, and discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals already taking advantage. Now it's your turn. Join the Trade Master program today at supplyhouse.com/TM and start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Plus, use promo code SH5 for 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com. This episode is also brought to you by Game Time. Have you ever decided the last minute to head to a ball game with friends or family? Maybe it's a game day and you suddenly realize you want to be in the stands. That's exactly where Game Time comes in. It's the easiest way to grab last-minute tickets without the stress. With all the money you save on tickets, you can splurge on food, drinks, merch, or even invite a bigger group to come with you. Game Time makes it possible. Game Time makes buying tickets fast and simple. Price on the app actually drop the closer you get to first pitch, and they've got incredible last-minute deals with clear seat views and a lowest price guarantee that takes the worrying out of buying. The Rays are finally back home after the All-Star break. They play the Orioles and White Sox. So if you guys want to get on there, it is the best site to get tickets. They have the best prices, and you'll be able to see your seat right from the app. You'll be able to see where you're sitting. And if you download the Game Time app today, you can create an account and use code LOCKEDON. It will be for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. And that's basically a free seat at least for the Rays game. Again, create an account, redeem code LOCKEDON MLB for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. So if you guys are in the live, make sure you guys leave a like and comment. We'll be getting to them momentarily. But now it's time to talk about why I am not overly concerned. The Rays are out of a playoff spot for the first time in over a month, and everyone's going to be saying the ceiling's on fire and the world is over for the Rays. Here's why it's not. I think that this is the worst stretch of baseball the Rays are going to play this entire season. I think the bullpen is not going to have a worse 2 weeks the rest of the season. The only thing that concerns me is the starting pitching is statistically due to go on a little bit of a lull. But if they just stay average, or if only one or two of them go on that lull, it is a little bit more manageable. But the Rays' schedule in the second half is extremely more manageable than the first half, especially when you get to the end of August into early September. So they open up with Baltimore, Chicago. They should be favored to win every single one of those games. It's as simple as that. You get Baltimore for 3, Chicago for 3. You need to, at the very least, go 4-2 in that homestand. Then you go to Cincinnati. Better this year, but not world beaters. You should be able to take 2 out of 3 there. You go to New York for 4. This is going to be one of the biggest series of the year. I think you have to at least split there. You come home and you play the Dodgers. That's tough. There's no way to say it. You do, but the Dodgers aren't. They I think they just lost 5 in a row or something. So they're not world beaters. Then you go on the 2-week long road trip, which is absolutely brutal. And if the Rays can get through that road trip at playing at 500, if they go 7-7 on that road trip, I think it sets them up spectacularly the rest of the season. So they go to Anaheim to play the Angels. Again, that's a series that you should win. You go to Seattle. Tough. Seattle has really good starting pitching. You go to now Sacramento to play the A's. Again, Rays should win that series. You go to San Francisco. They're one of the better teams in the NL. If you can scratch out going 500 in that stretch, hopefully with some work that you did in the beginning of this, hopefully you're sitting 8-9 games above 500, coming back home to play New York and St. Louis. 2 good teams. I don't know how St. Louis is going to look in that little 5-game homestand because they only play the Yankees for 2, which is weird. And so they play Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Sunday. They have a Saturday off. I forgot that they did that when the schedule came out. A Saturday off, which is kind of wild. So you hope to go 3-2 during that stretch. So I'm not going to go through the whole schedule, but the next road trip includes Washington, who's the worst team in MLB. Then you come home and you play homestand against Seattle and Cleveland. Cleveland just lost 10 in a row. You don't know what it's going to look like. And then you play the White Sox and the Cubs. So what I'm saying is, it's a long way of saying the Rays schedule eases up compared to what it was the first half. And I don't think their bullpen is going to be as bad. I think this is the worst stretch of baseball they're going to play. And if they find the medium between where they were in June and where they were in July, and more obviously where they were in June, because I think the bad was worse than the good, if that makes sense. If they're right in that middle, I think that middle is a wild card team. And I think if the Rays play like that, especially if they get to that 14-game road trip, 6, 7, 8 games above 500, I really, really like their odds. I mean, the first 10, 12 games out of the All-Star break, it's absolutely massive for this team. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I also think this offense is only going to get better with Brandon Lau coming back. And Josh Lowe has an expected batting average of 295 and he's hitting 255. So guys like him, I think, are going to be in for a big, big second half. But let's look ahead until to the last game of the All-Star break. And it's a big one. If the Rays can go to the All-Star break 5 games above 500, it's a lot better than 3 games. So it's Ryan Pepiot versus Brian Bello. I mean, one of the best pitching matchups that you can put out. And Brian Bello has been superbly good lately for the Red Sox. He has not given up more than 3 earned runs since May 18th. His last time out, he threw a complete game, 5 hits, 2 earned against the Red Sox. And, in this stretch where he actually pitched because Rays went 6 1/3, 7 hits, 3 earned. After that, he gave up 0 runs over 7 against New York, then then 1 run against the Giants, 3 runs against Toronto, and then 2-2. So just like Crochet, I mean, this guy has been fantastic for the Red Sox. And for Pep, I mean, he's been his last 2 outings, he's really battled. He hasn't had his best stuff, but he still produced quality outings. But each time he's gone 6 innings, only given up 2 runs. So desperately need that out of Pep again. And you can't keep asking your starting pitchers to put on like these Herculean efforts like they have been doing. But I'm optimistic that the Rays are going to get a win tomorrow. But let's go to the comments. Start with Dante Hamilton. He says, like BA says at the end there, Crochet made it easy. I mean, it was really like he was pitching against the JV team. It was incredible. As we go to Gary, another frustrating loss. Boz was great, but the Rays were completely dominated by Crochet. Don't think there was a trade to be made. They would have to play it out like they did in June. The only trade that's going to be made is for a bullpen arm. It's just as simple as that. Alexander says, expected loss, but offense is not good regardless. That is Crochet is giving up runs, so he's not immortal. He's not immortal, but this offense isn't not good. Like it also, this is the reason why the loss yesterday hurts even more, because you knew that this was probably going to happen, not get dominated 1-0 today, but you probably knew the Rays were going to lose Saturday to Crochet. That's why I lost yesterday is like so excruciatingly backbreaking. It's just really, really tough. But I also don't think this Rays offense is like not good. I think this Rays offense is average to above average. And that's why I also think that they'll be better the second half of the season. As Frank Shields talks about, this is a good way to put it, because I sat right next to Frank Shields to watch this game, and it was torture to watch. It really was. It was absolutely brutal. As we go to Mike H again, this is some of the highlight. The catch Cabby made in the right was outstanding. One of the best plays I've seen in a long time. Go to our Genius. He says, unbelievable how this team was about to lead the division today. Is that they're in 4th place. And I mean, they're going to be 6 games back. I mean, the Rays were a half game back with the opportunity to lead the division 3 weeks ago. And now, I mean, they're right back to where they started before they went on the run before June. So, I mean, I do think the Rays have another run in them. It is tough. So, Mike H has a great point here. He says Taylor should also play shortstop if in the game over Ha-Seong Kim. I agree. I would play Kim at second and Walls as short if they were going to do that. Michael Talon says offense seems like it's really what we saw in March and April and May and not what happened in June. I think it's somewhere in the middle. I don't think they're as bad as they were at the beginning of the season. I also don't think they're as good as they were in June. I think they're in like the 12 to 15 range. But yeah, as we go to Michael again, lots of series that they should have won, like the O's, Twins, Athletics, and failed to do so. And that's another point I want to get to. Over the last 14 games, the Rays should have won like 8 of them. And during the year, you have games like that. I think the Rays have gotten a majority of those games out of the way. Like 162 games, you're probably going to have like 15 to 20 games that, like, man, like we probably should have won that. You're going to have probably 10 games think, we got a little bit lucky to win that one. I think the Rays have more of the games where like we should have, we're lucky to win that one. Left and less games like, we should have won that one. Or we should have won that one. If that makes sense. It's baseball's 162 games. Everything and then some happens at the end of the year. So we go to Mike Gaethje. Says, is Rodriguez done for the year? We don't know. He went back to Tampa to see a specialist. I sure hope not. But yeah, it is tough if he is. He's very, very good. As we go to Mike Gaethje, that's a short stint in Durham for Mead. Should they waste an option so quickly, or is that a sign of him traded? I don't think an option kicks in unless the guy's down for 2 weeks. I feel like I saw that somewhere. I don't know how accurate that is, but no, I mean, he's the best guy the Rays have in their infield to come up. And, I thought he was good today, except when he struck out taking 97 right down the middle. But outside of that, I thought he was pretty good. So we're going to wrap it there, guys. I appreciate you guys sticking with me through, this tough stretch that the Rays are on. We got one game tomorrow. If the Rays win tomorrow, man, even though that clinch is going 3-7 on this road trip, which is just crazy to say, I just think that you feel so much better going to the All-Star break with a win and to a really workable homestand. I mean, you coming out of that, you win this game, you go 4-2 start the homestand. All of a sudden, you're back to 3 games above. Then what they're 4 games up, then you're back to 7 games above 500, and you're really feeling better going into that first road trip of the second half. So, sneaky big game tomorrow, and the Rays got their best pitcher, Ryan Pepiot, to go out and try to get a win. So, if you guys made it all the way then, make sure you guys leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow afternoon, hopefully after a Rays